about leading others through coaching. Um, we're going to be short in this segment, but there's so many take homes that we would want you to have from this. So what is the coach leader? You're still an authentic leader, but you're now functioning as a coach because your emphasis is on building the leadership skills and building the abilities of those around you, the people that you lead. And so a coaching style of leadership is based on partnership and collaboration. Immediately the mindset is that you're not the boss. You're not in charge of these people. You are partnering with them and collaborating with them. That is something that is important. When leaders begin to behave like coach, hierarchy, command, and control give way to collaboration and creativity. Because as you learned just now, the more emotionally intelligent you are, the less you would want to control and command. You would want to more focus on collaboration and creativity. You want to be in a place where you are giving feedback and you're helping those who you are leading to learn along the way. External motivators are replaced by self-motivation, and we talked about motivation last week. And you allow the barriers to fall. You allow the barriers to fall in order to allow change, allow everybody to embrace change. And if you function as a coach and you're working with the entire team, you're looking at longer term strategic thinking than your firefighting reaction. A lot of people, because there is no plan, as a team, you for yourself and for your team, you have no plan. And so you're running around fighting fires because everything that pops up, you have to respond to. But now you're working with your team as the coach to look at longer term strategic thinking. Next slide, Charlotte, please. So this is just something for you to think about, and we're going to go a little more in terms of discussing the coach leader, but also looking at one model that you can adopt in your own setting to address this, the focus of being a coach leader. Next slide. Okay, so I want to share very briefly, before we get into the meat of coach leader, a short video, and I ask you to just digest it and ponder to yourself, what am I getting from this story?
The saying, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime, I truly believe relates to leadership. As a leader, do you ever find that an awful lot of your day is answering people's questions and solving people's problems, even though actually you have a suspicion they probably could do that themselves? And as leaders, we do have experience and we do have knowledge that is absolutely fine to share with others in the right situation. However, are we really helping people? So in fact, when we do give advice and share our experiences, are we in fact feeding them just for the day, so they will come back another day? What we want to do, of course, is to teach them to fish. But by just feeding them, we're also probably feeding something in ourselves. I know that I have a real need for recognition and also to be needed. And that helps me in an awful lot of aspects of my life. But in leadership and coaching, it can be a real hindrance. When somebody asks me for my advice, I absolutely love that. I'm helping them, aren't I? But in essence, I'm really just truly filling a need in myself. So when I came across really what coaching was all about, which is giving somebody else the capacity to solve their own problems by getting them to explore their own situation, that really did enlighten me as to what we can do for other people. So rather than feeding me, it's all about that person. I came across a story a number of years ago which really helps me relate and think about what I'm doing to help other people. And that's the story of a man who came across a butterfly cocoon. And the man came across this cocoon and saw the small hole and the butterfly struggling to get through this small hole. And he was absolutely fascinated with this butterfly's struggle. And as he watched it, he was curious as to how the butterfly was going to manage to get through this minute hole. He went away, and a few hours later he came back, and the butterfly was still trying to struggle through the hole. He watched, thinking, what could he do to help? He felt for the butterfly and wanted to do something. But again, he went away, hoping that when he returned, that the butterfly would have flown away. So when he did return, to his dismay, the butterfly was still trying to struggle through the hole and looked like it was almost giving up. And he could not hold himself back. So he wanted to help the butterfly so much, he took a pair of scissors and he cut through the cocoon. And out came the butterfly with ease. But to his absolute horror, instead of the butterfly that he expected, the butterfly had an engorged body and withered wings. Because the man, in his haste to help, did not realise that the struggle for the butterfly to get through the hole in the cocoon actually serves to force the fluid from its body into its wings, so it can be fully formed to fly as a butterfly should. So that story stays with me and helps remind me of when I'm leading and coaching as to what I can do in service for other people. So I challenge you as leaders to, next time, before you dive in and give advice, is to think about how much pleasure you get from solving problems, and instead give the greatest gift of giving that other person the pleasure of solving their own problem by asking great questions, getting them to explore their situation, and more importantly, it's about patience. Waiting whilst, in fact, the person probably struggles to their own solution. Because great leaders are surrounded by beautiful butterflies.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Charlotte. Giving someone else the capacity to solve their own problems by helping them to explore their situation. That is what leadership is about, and that is what leading others is about. It was so amazing how she shared the story of the person thinking that they were helping instead of allowing a process to be completed. And so I want to ask you, those who are in leadership positions, maybe you're a principal, maybe you're the head of a department, maybe you're the head of some workplace, some organization, you're the leader. What opportunities do you provide to the people that you are leading to grow? What are the strategies that you use to allow them to grow? I don't answer, I'm just putting those questions out there. I keep sharing my experience that I have had 3 employees. I had 3 employers, before I took on my own business venture. And in all of those cases, only once did I work under a leader who actually took the time to coach. So all of us have assessments that we offer to our employees or the people that we lead. You call it performance assessment, you call it annual appraisals. There are different names for it, dependent on where you are working. And most of the time, this is used just as a tool. So, okay, it's time for your annual assessment, and you sit down and you tell the person, well, you really did poorly in this area. You have not grown in this area at all. You perform really poorly. And so I'm going to give you a 4 out of a possible 10. And the conversation ends there. I've had that experience, for example, when I was a teacher. So it's good to know that I am weak in this area. But as the leader, what are we then doing to help our people grow? And that is where coaching comes, and that is where leading others come in. Because it's not sufficient to point out others' weaknesses. What a good leader would then do is to help that person to grow. In most cases, what the appraisals do is serve as penalty. Sometimes for us to not receive an increment, to not get a promotion, or even to be released from the job because it provides enough evidence that the person has not grown or is not performing aptly in this situation. So we want to change that mindset in this course to say, you are the leader, so you are ultimately responsible for the growth of those persons under you. And if at the end of the day they do not grow because of their own reasons, you should be satisfied knowing that you have tried your best and you have invested time in helping them to grow before saying, well, you know, you're not competent in this area and therefore we need to release you. As I said, only in one instance, and it was such a rewarding experience, that at the beginning of the year, because it starts before the appraisal even begins. At the beginning of the year, we're setting goals. And so my leader sat down with me and said, okay, what is your goal? What is the vision? So we know where we knew where we started. This is where we are. But the leader helps you to set a goal. What is my vision for this year? Where am I trying to reach? And once we've been able to identify that vision, we can move forward. So I want to introduce you to a model called the GROW model. And the first component, the GROW, G-R-O-W, each one of it stands for something. G means goal. So the first thing that a leader would do in a coaching setting in helping others to grow is to help them to set a goal or a vision of where they want to be. Now notice, not where you think they should be or not where you want them to be, but where they want to be. That is critical, because if you give them your goal for them or your vision for them, they're going to become frustrated because they're living out your vision. Okay? They're trying to live out your vision. So one of the really, really critical things that you're going to find is that once somebody has a very clear vision, once somebody is able to set a very clear vision for themselves, it becomes easy because the coaching for you then becomes focused on helping that person to realize that vision. So the first thing that is really, really important for anybody that you're leading, even if you're only leading one person, if you're leading a group of teachers, if you're leading a group of employees in the workplace, have you sat down with any of them to ask, what is your vision? Even the ones that are high performing, what is your vision? What is your goal in a year, in 5 years? So helping them to set their goal. The second O is options. Next slide,
Sorry.
please.
Sorry.
R. Okay. Reality. I'm misspelling now. I'm going G-O. All right. G-R. R is what is the reality. So yes, everybody has a vision. You're going to help them set a vision, but we want to take into account what is the current reality. So what actions have you taken so far? Because you want to be able to assess, well, you know, I've taken a course already on emotional intelligence, or I have taken a course on conflict resolution. And what was the result of your previous action? So you have done X, Y, and Z, and this is where it has taken you. What were some of the obstacles that you experience, and what are some of the obstacles or the things that you could see that would be blocking you now from achieving that vision? Some might say, no, nothing. I just need to develop the will to do it, the ganas to do it. Or some might say, well, it's a financial obstacle because this course might cost. But what you're helping them to do is to frame the reality, because it's good to have a vision, but you don't want to be delusional that, oh, well, you know, there are not going to be obstacles. And remember, through all of this, you are not providing any answers. Just like stated in the video, what you are doing is asking great questions. You're listening and you're asking great questions. So There's a goal or a vision, and then there is reality. This is my current situation. And then options. Identify the possibilities and the alternatives. And this is where you at some point can offer some options, but not directly by saying, you know what, I highly recommend you take this course. No, you start by asking the questions. What are some alternatives? What are some things that you can do to be able to achieve that vision? And they can list some, and then you can say, you know, these are some things that are also available. In the last workplace that I worked, for example, we were privy to a lot of online courses for free because it was an international organization. So there was a global platform where you could just go on and get so many e-courses for free with a certificate. And so therefore we were able to just identify from that. So the leader could then say, let's run through this platform of available courses that you could possibly take, okay? And then help you to match those with your vision. But all of this, you are coaching. You are not the one on the playing field. You know, I come from a family of softball, and so I know when you're coaching, sometimes you want to run out on the field and do you know, what you don't see the coachee doing. But you're the coach, so you are on the sideline, and the person is the one playing the game in charge. And then will, not meaning the internal will, but the W in grow means what will you do? Because after all the discussion, we need to come to some conclusion. We need to come to some agreement on what are you going to do. Okay, so what will you do? What can be changed to achieve the initial goals? And most importantly, what is the plan of action? You need to make sure that there is a written plan, something that at the end of the day, when you have completed this first phase of your coaching activity, that there is something in writing, even if it's a 3-step plan. It doesn't have to be any big, sophisticated 20-page document. A specific plan of action on how this person is going to achieve that vision and how they will overcome possible additional obstacles in addition to those that they've identified. How are they going to overcome those? So what you have done now is to bring that person to a place where they have a tangible plan that they have developed on their own through your support for their growth. In essence, you are growing yourself and you're growing others because you're transferring some of the things that you know, some of your knowledge and your skill to others. You're caring about your staff and you're building an environment of trust and growth so that people are going to want to be led by you because they're going to be motivated in moving forward.